What's good, everyone? Happy Wednesday, I believe. It is March 8th, and I promised you guys a journaling video. Okay, today I will be going over Notion. I am not affiliated with Notion. I do not make money from Notion, so they do have a free subscription if you guys sign up with them. Everything that I will show you guys today is absolutely free. Okay, you don't need to pay for TradingView subscription to do everything that I'm going to show you today. You don't need Notion subscription. All you have to do is download both of those platforms or get an account with them and start keeping notes on Notion and your analytics on TradingView. So right now I'm going to dive into the different ways that I journal my trades, and I believe the best way is just to go through what my journal looks like, and then also I will show you guys how I personally fill it out. Okay, so here on the left hand side of my screen, you guys will see Notion. Okay, Notion, this note page, this is called a page. So this page is my 2023 trading analytics. Okay, as you guys can see, I've been trading and filling it up week by week. Okay, and every single week, let's go to February, the 4th week of February on DXY. Okay, you can open it, and you guys can honestly pick, before I dive into that actually. Okay, here you guys can see this is the month. You guys can pick the month. I added all these options. You guys can custom everything on here is customizable. Okay, everything. Okay, this isn't how it's gonna look like when you guys open it at all. Okay, you guys can set this up and even more, and I'm really curious to see how you guys set yours up and how creative you get and how organized it is. Please share any ideas that you guys have. I highly welcome if you guys are good with formulas. If you guys have any suggestions on how to improve it, drop it down in the comments below. At the end of this video, I would love to hear any feedback you guys have. Okay, so I picked my asset, whether it's the DXY or any other 3 indices, which is really all I've been trading all 2023, and I believe that I will make the full transition to only trading indices for 2023. I found too much consistency with them, and I don't believe that I need anything else. So I made it really easy to and narrowed it down to a few assets. What I want you guys to understand is everybody knows that they should journal. Okay, everybody knows that they should journal, but most people don't, because they make it so hard on themselves to journal. They add everything, like every little single detail, they count all the dollars, all the percent, then they convert it to percentages, then they convert it to a risk to reward. I get it, but there are tools out there that will do that for you, like an FX books. We're not going to go over that today, but there are tools out there that will keep track of every single trading analytics that you want. Journaling is feedback for you to understand what you did correctly and what you didn't do correctly. If your edge showed up and did you execute, and if your edge didn't show up and you did execute, why did you? And if your edge didn't show up when you did sit on your hands, and why did you sit on your hands? It's a bunch of feedback. Every experience, every moment in the market is very unique. Okay, but you will run into circumstances that are very identical to others. Moments where you will realize, hey, I've been here before. When you journal, you go over the trade and you relive that moment in a more in-depth, in a more immersed way. That way, when you are diving into the charts, when you are doing all this, I guess people call it, or I call it, paperwork, when you are working on the back end of your business, you start realizing that, hey, like I do need a risk management department for my business. Okay, a risk management and a fund management, right? A trade management, transaction management. All of these departments need to be in your business and be able to communicate with each other. So that way one gets feedback and the others have a track record of what you're doing. Otherwise, what the hell are you doing? how do you know that you're following through with your edge every single trade, every single time? I know the memory can be perfect, but not everyone is using their memory, their perfect memory, to the utmost potential. Right? And relying on memory and self alone has shown difficulty in the past. Therefore, why rely on yourself always? Right? Have something to document. Have something to help you document these transactions. Okay? If you believe today that you were bullish, okay, journal that beforehand. Journal that you were bullish. Okay? Pick, if you were bullish on DXY, cool. It is week 4 of February on DXY, and you pick that you're going to go long. Okay, you're aiming longs to 105.600. Okay, and then you set up a nice link where it shows your target, your overall target, and where you're aiming for. All right, at the end of the week, you're going to come over here and go to result to the right, and then pick whether you were long, and if price action went long, cool. If not, they went short, cool. But pick which one it was that played out. If you went long and this is long, hey, congrats, you just came up short from your target. Right? If it went the opposite way, guess what? That's a miss. Right? This one, the week wasn't over, but I believe we went bullish. We closed pretty bullish that week, if I'm not mistaken. Right? So that's a miss. Okay? And so you have a couple of things that will tell you, hey, why are we missing or going the opposite direction? So here you have feedback telling you, hey, you went short and you went the opposite direction of what the weekly bias was. And now you can take note of what happened throughout that week. Why did you miss that trade? And on that weekend, I believe this is the main reason why people should be backtesting, is backtesting information like this. Going through your week, going through every single bias, seeing if you were heading towards the right direction. So of course, out of the weekly, you're not going to get all your biases. But what you can do is come over here. Let's go to Dow Jones week 4, open. The weekly bias may not give you everything you need, but you can document your daily biases. Okay. Wherever you guys see me stop, it's usually when I just stop trading for the week. And yeah, sometimes I do miss the follow-up. I'm not perfect, but this is the template that I have laid out. So you can see here, let's go to a Tuesday. Okay, Tuesday, my initial daily bias was to go long from here, and I believe, boy, was I wrong. And then another Tuesday, boom, we end up falling right through that. Right? So even though I thought I was long, what ended up happening, we went super short. Okay? So as you guys can see, I have a before and after of every single day. Even my weekly biases, my daily biases, okay? And the daily biases give me a feedback of what I'm doing correctly and incorrectly from a day-to-day. I noticed that when there's really low liquidity to the upside, I always think we're gonna buy, right? That's what this day taught me, is I always feel like we're gonna buy because we have upside liquidity, but not always does the upside need to be swept for us to run for the lows. Sometimes there's enough upside already taken that no more needs to be taken, and this is what happened on this day. We just kept falling. We kept falling to the downside. There wasn't much stopping, and I mean, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful day, okay? And it taught me a lot, okay? And those days is what I want you guys to have when you're journaling in this manner, okay? So let's go now that you guys understand how I fill it up. Okay, now let's fill it up for today. Okay, so today I needed more data, okay, on Wednesday, and so let's still follow through on the XY over here to the right. And I dictated again that I needed more data for today, right? And so this is why, honestly, literally why I wanted more data, is because I kind of figured we were just gonna chill down here for a bit. Maybe we come back down. This is the weekly open over here of another previous week, but over here I wanted the price action to come a little bit lower, at least down to this imbalance, but it doesn't necessarily have to. We can literally get out of this area and just continue going to the upside. Personally, I only trade assets that are in New York. I don't trade any other assets. I only stick to US dollar indices, and I make everything really simple. This is what I was saying at the beginning, is like I make things really simple to follow. Like that's all I have in my trading journal. It's like I follow my daily biases. It's pretty simple to follow as well. I don't have a hard time I don't have a hard time filling it up for hours. It just takes me about 15 minutes before I hop on the charts, and I only look at one session, so you guys can see like I set up my plan in myself for success because I make everything really simple and easy to follow, right? I don't have a bunch of information gathered up. It's just a bunch of screenshots and easy to follow here on TradingView. So if you don't know how to take screenshots, by the way, here on the top right there's that little camera. Copy link of chart image and then you can copy it. Okay, so I need more context here. I will be looking for a prediction for tomorrow, but today I am going just to follow through and show that overall right here that doji tells me that needing more context on that Wednesday was a good call. Okay, so we're gonna leave that there. Now I do have Dow Jones that I want to journal as well. Okay, Dow Jones, I needed more data on all of them. I believe I needed more data, so Dow Jones will show what it did on that day as well. You can see here I really love that liquidity sweep on Dow Jones. So on Dow Jones, on days where I need more data, I only take small trades. I take very quick within the range in and out trades if they do present themselves, and only if they present themselves. On more data days, doesn't mean I don't trade. I'm very picky about my trade, and on top of that, I know that it's going to be a really short-term trade, in and out, looking for just 1 or 2% and then running out of there. Take what the market gives you, right? And so Dow Jones did look pretty bearish at the beginning of the day. I really like that, and then we hit this target down here. So I'll show you guys the trades that I did participate on. It wasn't Dow Jones, weirdly enough, it was Nasdaq. Okay, so then I'm gonna journal that. We did go down. I really like that. I'm going to be coming back tomorrow with probably a more bullish bias to this high right here, previous daily high, and even probably short from there. We'll see what ends up happening. I'm really excited to see what price action is going to bring us, but maybe we continue going long further into this imbalance and continue this daily and come all the way to that high, right, as internal liquidity for this range, for this weekly range to the downside. I really would love that. So we could get some accumulations. First target, of course, would be here. So open of possibilities, just marking them out. I really like that on Dow, so I'm going to put that over here for Thursday. Okay, Thursday, maybe tomorrow I change my bias and I replace it before the open. As long as you journal before the opening session, like, you're good, but don't be switching it after the fact. Like, there's no point in that, just you trying to be right. Okay, so I'll come back tomorrow and then I'll fill up Thursday down here. And that's how I fill this up for every single one. I'll do one more so that way you guys can follow. We'll go over to Nasdaq, March, second week of March. I want a, notice this before I go all the way down. I want a long week. I want the price of 12,600. I have a, what that looks like. Okay, what that looks like. And I believe we ended up shorting super hard. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. So this did miss both of these. So we'll go to the actual chart here soon. Here on a daily, we'll go to longs. Yeah, was it shorts to longs? Okay, go to longs on Monday. I wanted to see more longs up to that high. okay, on Monday. And so that's what was my bias on for Nasdaq. And then Monday, the actual results was that we went long pretty nicely, okay. And then I'm looking for shorts on Tuesday, I believe, shorts to then long out of that area, okay. But what ended up happening is we ended up falling through the floor, so we're gonna follow up on Wednesday now, okay. I'm gonna follow up on Wednesday's price action, and you guys can see that we ended up falling pretty hard, okay. Now one sec. Okay, this was the previous day. We ended up falling pretty hard, and we ended up sweeping that previous daily low. Okay, what does this tell me? That we are still bullish on the daily, and we came into that previous area of accumulation. If we accumulate out of this area, we can potentially come back and hit out this high as internal liquidity. If we respect this imbalance here, we can distribute, go above this previous daily high, and continue dropping to the downside. So I'm really curious as to what's going to happen. I am going to keep my bias here with potential longs into this area first, wait for evidence. If not, shooting for the highs, because we are in a previous area of accumulation on the daily, and this could just be the weekly internal liquidity. So I'm going to keep that for my Thursday bias. And if in the morning I change my bias, then, so be it. But at the start of this new trading day, that is my current objective. Okay. And that's how I fill up my journal. Okay. I believe my weekly already got hit. No, my weekly totally missed. So now my objective for the weekly now, okay, since we already hit out these highs, my new current objective for the weekly, let me take these off the chart, is the current high. Just going for more highs, maybe even returning back to that level where we swept that previous week, maybe even this one. Okay, you know what, opening gap of the week, let's look at it. Monday, Friday, let's look right there. Opening gap of the week. Okay, those are actually really good days or really good areas to mark out, because maybe we return to the opening gap of the week. But I think we're gonna stay, I think we can return to the opening gap and then continue falling to the downside here. So the opening gap will really tell us, to me, will really tell us whether this is going to continue falling or not once we get up in that area. But for now, opening gap is my goal, my objective for these longs. Okay, opening gap, and so I'll leave that there. I'll take this one off because I want this one to get hit first, see what happens there. And so we're gonna leave that, and then if we run through it, cool. But I'm gonna leave that opening gap marked up, and that's going to be my objective for Nasdaq on Thursday, on a weekly weekly objective. And we'll fill this out, and then this is the second objective. This is what the weekly will look like then. This is what I'm looking for on a weekly perspective. Cool. So that's how I do that. Follow up with my weekly objectives. If they hit, if they miss, if it's okay to switch your bias for the week. What is not okay is not documenting any of it. That's just an experienced past. There you go. I don't want to say wasted time. It's not wasted time. You won't ever waste your time, but what I mean is a passed on experience. Like you passed on the moment where you could have learned something, right? So anyways, guys, that is the overall objective, how to fill these out. Okay, now I'm going to show you guys how I journal a trade. So I am doing a top step 50k. I'll show you guys like how that's going. The way that this is filled out is by date, NAS, DAO, depending on the setup, what asset okay, what asset it was on, whether I went long or short, how many contracts. So today, let's go through. Okay, and first one we'll go to Wednesday, because today was Wednesday for me still, and it was on NASDAQ. Okay, surprisingly enough, and not surprisingly enough, it was a long, and I dropped 2 contracts. And yes, it was news, and we'll go to NAS the way that I did take it. So here on the 1 hour, we were pretty starting to walk ourselves up, but really what did this was sweeping this previous 1 hour lows, okay, sweeping that previous daily low initially, and then that Asian low there, okay, sweeping those lows really got my attention, as well as we swept the low that swept that previous daily low, we swept those initial lows, Asian low of the day, and then we show this willingness to go higher. And what gave it to me was really the sweep of this high right here, and then the creation of that imbalance. Those two, or those three, the support, imbalance, sweep of the high, created this opportunity, right? You have that 5-minute imbalance, previous high. 5-minute imbalance was my entry. Stop loss was below the low of the 1 minute candle that created that imbalance, and take profit was there. There is a full breakdown on this trade. I'm not going to go too in depth about it, because again, I just want to show you guys how I journal. So then what I do is, once I get it all set up, I take a screenshot, and then I'm going to pass it over here to the markup and hit profits, select a file. I already have mine selected, and I dropped it in there. You guys can see my screenshots there, I guess my entries there and exits, right? And then of course the starting balance of today, and then the ending balance, which is, we got 52, 500 and 1.34. Boom. Okay, and I'm gonna put in and out plays during NFP week, right? Taking more notes of those news, complete it, and I'm done. That's literally it. That's how I fill up this whole trading journal. It's pretty simple, like I mentioned, nothing too complex. I like to keep it simple. That's just the way that I run my whole business. Is the simpler I keep it, the easier it is going to be to follow. If you make it really complex, you're not going to follow through with it. So keep it really simple, guys, right? I'll keep it really simple, and make sure that you follow through with it the same day of, because usually if you wait too long, you may not get to it at all, right? If you miss one day of journaling, you're more than likely going to miss the whole week of journaling. So don't invite that energy into your lives. Make sure that you take every moment from the market, every experience, and get the most out of it. Okay, with that, I'm gonna let you guys go. I'll see you guys later. Peace.